Welcome back inside the Amsler Campus Center gym for the Trailblazer Weekly Athletic Recap Show. I'm Dan Wohler here with Assistant Athletic Director Jeff Polari. And Jeff, we're back from winter break, so let's recap what happened over that break.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we got back on the hardwood in basketball and really updated our fans on where things stand. At last check prior to semester break, our men's basketball team was busy winning their two games. They beat RPI and Fisher to claim the Tri-State Championship, which is a great feat for them. Unfortunately, they haven't tasted victory since. It's been a tough go with them, especially getting into MASCAC play at the start of the new year, and we'll get into that further along in the show. On the women's basketball side, they had a successful trip down to Daytona Beach, had some travel issues getting there, but they were able to go down and play a pair of games. They split those games, ultimately giving one away late to Emory and Henry, which cost them a sweep down there. In similar fashion, they've performed fairly well so far in the early part of the MASCAC season, currently sitting at 2-3 with some important games here coming up, so they're in a decent position to qualify for the postseason. We'll get into that in a little more detail as well.
Sure, and speaking of MASCAC play, they got that game against Bridgewater State to finish up the first half of the semester.
Yeah, so right now MCLA stands at 2-3 in the conference. There's one more game left in the MASCAC schedule on the first rotation. That's with Bridgewater State on Wednesday night. Bridgewater State currently sits at 3-2 in the league. MCLA at 2-3 in the league. We've already played all the top teams in the conference to this point, so it's been a great transition, and it'll be interesting to see how the women come out on Wednesday night.
And then on Saturday, a key matchup versus Worcester State, so another MASCAC game.
Yeah, it's really a critical matchup because as you get into the second round of games, it's against opponents we've already played, number one, but it also gets into the tiebreaker scenarios. Worcester State defeated us in the opening MASCAC game of the year back on January 4th at home. They defeated us. So it's a really important game for us on the road at Worcester State. If we have hopes and dreams of climbing the MASCAC standings, it'll start not only with Bridgewater on Wednesday, but hopefully at Worcester State on Saturday as well.
Right, and for the women's basketball team, senior Kayla Hodeling's had a terrific season thus far. A few games ago, had 24 rebounds in a game. School record is 28, and she's also chasing 1,000 points.
We kind of figured everything through the start of the year would go through Kayla, and it certainly has to this point. She's been one of their top scorers along with Courtney McLaughlin. She's also the team's top rebounder. She's been the last 3 seasons in a Trailblazer uniform. In that game against Fitchburg State, she was well on her way to possibly setting the school record, had 23 rebounds through basically about 2.5 quarters. Went down with a little bit of an ankle injury. Hopefully she'll be back in the lineup on Wednesday night against Bridgewater State. But on the other side, she did topple the 900-point total. She's inching her way closer to the 1,000-point mark, so that'll be something to watch for throughout the remainder of the season as well.
And another key player you alluded to, senior Courtney McLaughlin, has been outstanding for the Trailblazers offense, and also sophomore Karina Matera.
Courtney's been great on both ends of the floor. She currently leads the team in scoring at over 12.5 points a game, but she also leads the team in steals. She creates some havoc on the defensive side with her pressure leading to a lot of easy baskets for the Trailblazers. She's been great getting to the basket, going to the hoop. She was very strong the other day, especially in the first quarter in a loss to Springfield College. So it'll be nice to see. She was absent from the lineup the first time we played Worcester State, so that'll be something to watch as well, getting her back in the lineup for Saturday.
And on to the men's basketball side, we mentioned this earlier, but winning that Tri-State shootout in the last 2 games, the Trailblazers won.
Yeah, again, they had probably the top 2 performances of the year in the Tri-State, gave them a little bit of momentum, and then ultimately they haven't been able to taste victory since. It's been a tough stretch. As we figured they would struggle in conference play. They've had a couple of opportunities. Real close game with Framingham a week ago at home in the campus center. They ultimately lost 64-59. But they currently stand at 0-5. They get Bridgewater State coming into the Amsler Campus Center on Wednesday night. So that'll wrap up their kind of first half of MASCAC play, and we'll see where they go in the second half. They got some work to do to try to get into that postseason bid.
And a newcomer for the Trailblazers, Keelan Cross. I mean, he's been Rookie of the Week for the MASCAC 5 times in a row. Let's go over his performance.
Yeah, a little unique scenario for Keelan. He certainly qualifies for the MASCAC Rookie of the Week because this is his first time playing collegiate basketball at our level, even though he transferred in and is a junior academically. But he's been a tremendous asset on the offensive side of the ball. He's been able to get to the basket. He's also leading the conference in assists. So when he's not only scoring, he's scoring at about 16 points a clip. He's also dishing the ball out and making some other players around him better. His play in that Tri-State, which now is well over a month ago, but his play that week was phenomenal. And he's kind of been a little bit more scattered here as we've gotten into conference play, and teams have focused on him a little bit more. But it'll be interesting to see how he progresses as well.
Sure, and another local basketball player, Joe Wiggins has been instrumental for the Trailblazers offense.
Similar on the men's side to what we were talking about on the women's side. We kind of figured everything would have to try to filter through Joe Wiggins. Team's a little bit short-handed this year just in terms of depth and size, and Joe's been certainly their leading scorer to date. He can get to the basket, he can finish around the rim, plays at a very high pace, high energy, and again, he's one that will hopefully continue to progress and hopefully get the Trailblazers in the win column here shortly.
Sure, and MCLA Athletics over the weekend hosting the National Girls and Women's Sports Day, something that's very close to the heart of Assistant Athletic Director Doc Houston.
Yeah, it's always a great opportunity to kind of step away from the varsity athletic scene at MCLA and get into some community programming. We are in, I believe, our 25th, 26th year of running a National Girls and Women's Sports Day event. It coincides with the national date, which is February 4th, but since we're on the road, we held it a week or two early this year. It's a great program where a lot of our youth can come in and learn from various student athletes, coaches, a couple different clinics, and then they get to be guests of the women's basketball team, and they were this past weekend. They had a great time.
Right, and now we'll send it out to Maggie Allen, who had a chance to go down to the National Girls and Women's Sports Day and talk with Dot Houston.
Hi, I'm Maggie Allen. I'm reporting from the MCLA campus on National Girls and Women's Sports Day, which is an annual event that the MCLA Trailblazers hold to give back to the community. I have the inside scoop today for the occasion.
Coordinator of the event and Assistant Athletic Director Dot Houston spoke about the humbled beginning of the event and how it evolved over the years.
Yeah, the national event this year celebrating its 31st year. It's typically celebrated the first Friday in February. We've been doing it for approximately 27 years. It started out as a really small basketball clinic. Now we have more student athletes at MCLA helping out. This year we have tennis, soccer, and basketball.
Houston touched on the athlete who inspired National Girls and Women in Sports Day.
This event is for the Olympic volleyball player Will Hyman, who passed away just before they had the national event, who was a strong leader, inspiration to others, gave back to the community.
She described what this event aims to accomplish.
We're basically trying to expose sports to girls and see if they become interested in it and continue to play in high school, and maybe in college.
Member of the men's tennis team, Jared Freeman, highlighted the benefits of exposing athletics to young women.
Sports give people discipline, they give them something to do, something to distract them from bad influences.
Four-year player of the women's soccer team, Katie Daly, explained the cohesive community of MCLA athletics.
It's awesome, especially with all separate sports teams coming together, even baseball, softball, basketball, soccer, and it's really a huge family that comes together to show young girls that they can do sports just as well as guys can.
The day has come to a close in the MCLA Campus Center, and the actions of these athletes today show that it's very important to give back to younger athletes in the community. From the words of these Trailblazers, you can tell that they're very excited for next year's event. Just want to thank you for watching.
Thanks, Maggie. Looks like it was a wonderful time, and again, another great turnout for that event. So, Jeff, let's go over the week ahead for men's basketball and women's basketball.
Yes, we've already mentioned we've got a MASCAC doubleheader on Wednesday night in the MCLA Campus Center. New to a lot of the fans, too, the men's team will play first at 5:30, hosting Bridgewater State, followed by the women at 7:30 in the nightcap. The men's side, you're going to see a very efficient Bridgewater State squad led by longtime head coach Joe Faroba. They got some pretty good backcourt play. They got three guards that rotate in that are pretty dynamic, and I would look for them to pose some defensive matchup issues for MCLA. I think it'll be a little bit of a slower paced game. Bridgewater is not one that likes to get up and down the floor, so it should be a decent matchup for us, and hopefully the men can turn it on a little bit and hopefully break into the win column. On the women's side, probably a little bit of the opposite. I think you'll see a faster paced game. Bridgewater State lost one of their better players due to injury earlier in the season, so they're a little bit short-handed going into that game. They like to get up and down the floor. MCLA's also been pressuring quite a bit lately, so I would expect a little bit more of an up-tempo matchup. Really important game in the schedule, as I said. Bridgewater stands at 3-2. We're 2-3, so a good opportunity for us to end at that 500 mark through the first rotation.
Well, we look forward to those MASCAC games, and that'll do it for us for this week. And for Trailblazer fans, remember you can stay tuned with everything Trailblazer Athletics by following us on our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube pages. For myself and Jeff Polari, thanks for watching.